Calexico is to be respected. You know, yes, we're a small town. We're 2 hours away from the big city.
Like I saw you as one of my father figures for soccer, right? If they asked me for one, I would say it's you. Why have you come back after those seasons?
Passion. You know, I don't like school. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm partying every day, and I mean every day.
How good was Banda? Because I've heard a lot, but how good was he? ¿Qué onda, gente? Pues aquí estamos en un nuevo podcast, pero ahora va a ser una entrevista. Va a ser la primera vez que entrevisto a alguien. Y esta vez estamos aquí con un invitado especial. Estamos con un entrenador de fútbol, maestro de inglés, papá. Mucha gente lo conoce, pero no mucha gente lo conoce personalmente. No mucha gente sabe quién es de verdad. Y es lo que vamos a tratar de enfocarnos hoy. Y nuestro invitado especial es Mr. Bernal, Javier Bernal. ¿Qué onda, Bernal? ¿Cómo está?
Good. We're doing good.
Bien. Bueno, igual, de antemano, disculpe, pero esta entrevista va a ser un poquito más en inglés, ya que estamos aquí con el señor que habla inglés. Yeah. Mr. Bernal, I want to start with chronological order. I don't know if you were born in Bolivia, right?
Born in Bolivia.
When did you come to the U.S.?
I came to the U.S. when I was 10. I remember the date, June 23, 1982.
Okay, so elementary school. How was the transition from Bolivia to the U.S.?
Oh, night and day. Whatever you know or anybody else knows about Bolivia, it's pretty much how you picture it. That's how it is. It's to this day, it's still a very difficult place to live in. Not a lot of opportunities to grow, for jobs, for families to grow up, for kids to be raised. So this is, night and day for me between what it's like and where I've been living now for over 40 years.
Okay. Why did your parents decide to move?
At the time, my mom had passed away a year before that, and my dad said, "You know what? We need to go join your uncles and your aunts who are there, his brothers and sisters."
Okay.
So they helped us move over here, and the three of us came here, and we joined them in Orange County in Santa Ana.
Oh, so you were 9 years old when your mom passed away?
I was 8 years old.
8 years old?
8 years old.
What do you remember about your mom?
I don't have a lot of memories. I don't have a lot of pictures, but it's a mom is a mom. So sacred. What anybody holds mothers to be is sacred. Everything that was good, everything that a mother's supposed to teach.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't get, but it's still. I think my dad, try to make up for it.
What do you remember about your childhood in Bolivia, if anything?
Well, since we're in a school, let's think of school. My school was, I think it was in the afternoon from like 1 to 5.
Okay.
I think that's the way Mexico runs it, right? 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I remember the school didn't have bathrooms. The classrooms barely had small tables. I was a kid, so I remember small tables and small chairs or a bench. I don't really remember how the classes ran, but I know teachers were very strict because back then they could hit the students.
Did they ever hit you?
Yeah, they hit me. Yeah.
How many times?
I remember
a few times?
Maybe 5 times that I remember.
How were you as a student?
As a kid, I was
as a kid, elementary.
I was a good student. I was a good kid. Here in the U.S. and in Bolivia, I was quiet. I didn't speak very much. I only spoke when I was spoken to, kind of like I am now.
Yeah.
If nobody speaks to me, then I don't speak to anyone, kind of thing. But I was a good kid. I was very respectful to teachers and to adults.
Yeah.
I did my work. I didn't procrastinate. If they told me to do this, I would do it, and then I would sit there for 58 minutes quiet.
Oh wow.
Kind of that attitude. Nice. I didn't wait till the last minute. I did it right away, and then I would not do anything for however long.
Okay, so where was the first city that you lived in the U.S.? Where'd you move?
Santa Ana.
Santa Ana?
Yeah, Santa Ana.
Were you there for all throughout middle school and high school as well?
No, my dad got married in '83, so we moved to Garden Grove, which is right there next to it.
LA area?
It's Orange County.
Orange County.
Orange County. It's
Okay.
considered Orange County. So I lived there for the rest of my teen years and high school years until I left.
Did you ever play soccer in Bolivia as a kid?
In Bolivia,
Yeah.
I did. I remember I have a picture somewhere in a box that my team was yellow, like stripes, like Chivas,
Mm-hmm.
red and white, but mine was yellow and white.
Mm.
We played. I remember one team. I don't remember how many games we played or how many times we won, but I remember that I remember the team because of the picture. But I must have been, I don't know, 7 or 8.
And you just played in that one team?
That I remember, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I remember.
What position did you play as a kid? Do you remember?
And at that time, I don't remember. No.
Were you were you passionate about soccer when you were little?
I became passionate about soccer because of where I lived. We lived in La Paz, Bolivia.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad would take me to watch a game every Wednesday and every Saturday.
From
So
the
sometimes 2 games a week.
professional team there, or
Professional teams.
first
you know.
division or what?
Yeah, professional teams.
I remember you have a story about you when you were younger. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Like you in a stadium, something like that. Am I wrong?
I remember stories in the stadium. Which one? Do you remember the story?
I don't remember, but you were in the stadium when you were little. What's the one that you tell people?
I don't know which one you're talking about, but the one story that I remember is my dad would sneak in.
Oh, that one. Yeah,
That one?
yeah.
Okay. He would sneak in alcohol.
Oh,
So back then, and I don't know if it's still today, they didn't allow alcohol in the stadium.
okay.
So he would sneak in his bottle of, I don't know what it was, inside like my sock or my shirt or something. Yeah.
Oh.
So him and his friends would drink
Yeah.
that alcohol
Yeah.
in the stadium.
So they wouldn't check you?
Yeah, I guess they
Yeah.
wouldn't check me. You know, when I was a kid, you buy me a candy and I was happy and I'm watching the game, so
Yeah.
I didn't care.
Okay. So when you start building a passion, like a real passion for soccer?
Well,
How old were you?
in that time, because I was
That
I was with my dad, you know, a lot, and we would go to the games. I don't know how many games we went to in a year, 2 year span. I don't know how many games we used to go to, but
Was it more you like watching the sport or also playing?
I think when I was a kid, it was more watching.
Watching?
I was more
Okay.
watching. I think in my mind, you know, I was thinking, okay, you know, I was always watching how the players move, and you know, watching from a stadium on top,
Yeah.
watching a little field that you see small on
Yeah.
the grass.
So subconsciously, you were already
Yeah,
doing
I've always
coaching,
done that.
thinking,
I've
right?
always done that.
Wow.
My dad, one time when I was, I don't know, 7 or 8, he took a hanger, like
Mhm.
clothes hanger,
Yeah.
like a wire one,
Uh-huh.
and he undid it and he folded it into a goal.
Mm.
So he made me 2 little goals
Mm-hmm.
of made up of wire hangers, and I mean that was the best gift I've ever gotten, you know, because he made you know, porterias,
Sí, por
little ones.
Yeah.
And I remember I think it was chalk. I used to draw the field on cement.
You were playing the coach.
Yeah. And I used to put them, and I used to make like the little green soldiers
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that all the kids have.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the players.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's
So
how
it's
I
something
started.
you were meant to be. You think so?
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense, but back then I was just
Yeah.
playing. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I think esa en español se dice la pregunta del millón. I think a lot of people want to know this, but how good were you as a soccer player?
I've always
growing
said
up?
it. I was a horrible soccer player.
Yeah.
I was horrible. I
Do you remember
admit
the
it
positions you played,
in high school.
like all throughout your life?
All throughout. I think because I was one of the few Latino kids in my high school.
Mhm.
I think the coach would say, you know what,
you were
you're
good.
Mexican or you're Latino, you're up top because you got talent
Oh,
and because you're fast and because you're little.
yeah.
So that's where I played.
Okay. But as in horrible, what do you mean? Like, are you actually that horrible, or
Okay,
how were
not that horrible.
kind of like
but
average, or what
I
would
was
you say?
average.
You're average.
But I've always told you guys, I've told you and I've told a lot of the teams, and I say this with all honesty, I would never make my own team for a few reasons. One, because if a coach told me, you know what, you got to run 5 miles today,
You wouldn't do it.
I would say, I'm out of here. I'm going to go play somewhere else where I don't have to run 5 miles and I can just play.
Okay.
So I would not make my own team. And two, because I think you guys have a lot of talent here in Calexico. And as demanding as I am, I don't think I would say, I'll stay, I'll do it.
No.
You know what I mean? Just because for the passion, I wouldn't do it. I would give up really easy.
Yeah.
And I would leave.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's one of the reasons why sometimes I am a little bit more harsh on those types of kids, because that's me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever hard on you,
No.
because you already had the passion and you had the drive. So I didn't need to be.
Well, I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
As much as I want to talk about soccer right now, I really want to know, like, where did you graduate high school? Like, did you go to Garden Grove, sorry?
Garden Grove, 1990.
1990. Class of 1990, okay.
Yeah, class of 1990. I always tell, adults, or when I'm having a few beers in Applebee's, I always tell, my favorite number is 19, or it should be 19. Why 19? Because all my graduations have been on 19th of the month.
Oh, yeah.
My high school, my college, my master's degree,
No way.
my boot camp,
All of them?
they've been all on 19.
Same, like, similar to, like, June,
Different months,
different months.
but not on the 19th.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. It's weird, right? I mean, how many people can say that?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you graduated. Were you a good student like with your grades? Were they good?
I was average.
Average?
I was average. I never took AP classes. I never, I never was hard on myself. I did what I had to do.
But not extra?
Not extra. A's, B's, a C, and I just did my job in all my classes, and that's how I got by.
You still keep in touch with your high school friends, middle school friends, elementary friends?
I keep in touch with my two buddies. My two buddies that I lived with after high school for a little bit.
So after high school, did you go to college?
I did not. I enrolled in college. Well, okay. Did I go to college? Physically, yes. Did I stay in college? No, because when you're young, when you're 18, 19, immature, you figure out, oh, I'm going to go to college, and then you go, and then the professors don't take attendance. They don't, they don't really care sometimes.
Yeah.
So I stopped going.
Okay.
I failed all my classes because I didn't go.
Okay. So is that, did you not like school, and then is that when you decided you wanted to be a Marine?
Yeah.
Or how was that decision of you wanted to be a Marine?
I am a very impulsive person. So I make a decision today, I do it tomorrow.
You do it? Okay.
Yeah. So that's what happens. That's what happened with the military. I walked in to the recruiting office on Tuesday. This was about a year after I graduated high school.
Okay.
So I walked into the recruiting office on Tuesday. On Wednesday, the next day, I was at the MEP station. I don't know if you know what the MEP station is.
Not really.
It's where they take all the future recruits and they do the whole process. I was at the MEP station in LA on Wednesday. Came back on Thursday. They told me something like, "You're gonna leave to boot camp in 6 months," and I said, "No, I can't do that. I have to leave now, or else I'm gonna change my mind."
You're gonna change your mind? Yeah.
Because I'm impulsive.
Yeah.
So I remember the recruiter. He said, "Okay, hold on." He made some phone calls. I don't know how long it took, and he said, "Okay, you leave next Tuesday."
Wow.
So I walked in on a Tuesday. 7 days later, I was bald with no hair in San Diego somewhere.
What did your dad think about that?
What's that?
What did your dad think about your decision? Did he support it?
I think he was scared. I think he was scared because I'm the oldest, so I was always the example. So I think he was scared for me. No idea what to expect.
Yeah.
Back then, no Google, no anything.
Yeah. So
the information is just from people.
What was the thought process behind the decision when you made it?
My thought process?
Yeah, behind your decision when you made it. Was it like, I don't like school, but I want to do something, so I'm going to go here? Or did anyone talk to you, or what did you?
A little bit of that. I don't like school. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm partying every day, and I mean every day. I mean Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wake up, go to work, party, sleep 2 hours, wake up, go to work, party, for a long time.
So after you graduated high school, you started working?
Yeah. No, actually, before I was already working.
Oh, you're working during high school?
Yeah.
All right. So were you also partying during high school, or just after high school?
After high school.
Okay.
I think my partying, what you guys consider partying, it was after high school. During high school, I was, still living at home, respected the house.
Okay.
Was working 20 hours, maybe 25 hours a week.
Yeah.
So after high school, it it was good, but it was also a little bit bad, because
Yeah.
I overdid it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you partying with the people from college or that from
No,
the
I
schools?
was with my
Just like-
friends, my high school friends that we're still friends with now. I've known those guys for almost 40 years, and where did I meet them? Soccer team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So did you play varsity at the high school
I played 1 year
when
varsity
you were a senior, or what year?
when I was a junior.
And you quit the year after?
My senior year, it was a new coach.
Oh.
You know, he doesn't like me, excuse.
Yeah.
So I used that.
Okay.
Plus, I was working more. So I just said, I don't want to do it. So
Yeah.
I didn't play.
So you said you're the oldest. How many siblings do you have?
There's 4 of us total.
4? Okay. What's the difference of the age gap between you 4?
Me, then 6 years younger, and then I think 6 years younger, and then I think another 8 years younger.
Oh, okay.
So
but
we're very separated.
are some of them your half siblings though?
My little sister's half.
The
half
youngest
sister.
one?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that growing up? Like, were you ever did you ever have to take care of them a lot? Were you a babysitter for them sometimes, or how was that?
Yeah. A lot of times I had to take care of my 2 brothers. My little sister, not so much, because by then I was already in high school working.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of memories with her as a child, because we're 15, 16 years apart. So
Okay.
it
Yeah.
wasn't close.
You keep in touch with them? Your
Oh yeah,
siblings?
yeah. They all live in Garden Grove, Santa Ana area.
Oh, here in California?
Yeah.
Nice. So how was the Marines? Like, when they started, what was it like? What was it like? Do you have any takeaways from it? Any stories?
Well,
What do you remember about it?
Yeah, I always tell you guys, or in class, I always tell all my kids first day of school, this is where I get my wonderful personality.
Okay. So you think the Marines shaped who you are right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it's been a long time, it still has an impact on you?
Yeah, I think sometimes in Calexico or the community, even you guys as players, teachers, colleagues, sometimes they don't know that I am a teacher, but they remember that I was a Marine. It's that kind of identification with me with being a Marine.
Do you think being a Marine shaped also the way you coach? Somehow?
I think my first maybe 5, 6, 7 years, it did.
Okay.
But after a while, it kind of has disappeared.
Okay.
I used to run a lot with the team.
Personally, right?
I used to.
Yeah, I've
do
heard
it a
that.
lot.
Yeah.
I used to run. If you guys ran 5, I probably did 2 or 3 miles.
Yeah.
And not only the running, but I also used to do my chanting, my singing,
really? With the team?
Marine, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I guess I was younger back then, and I could do it. It's harder now.
Yeah, of course.
So I used to throw all that in there, and it's called burpees now, but it was called up downs back then. So just different little things that I do with you guys that I learned.
Yeah. Do you have any stories from the Marines? Anything you remember?
Oh, I remember a lot of stories. Got a lot of good ones, a lot of bad ones, a lot of funny ones.
What was a funny one?
Okay, I was in Japan. We got lost because we were in the train, the bullet train. I mean, those go fast, and we all fell asleep after having fun. We were, I don't know, somewhere like past 2 hours where we were supposed to be. So it was funny. It's funny now. It was kind of worried then.
Yeah.
But we woke up and we said, where? It's kind of like,
no
okay.
phones?
No, there were no phones.
No
Like
phones,
90. I'm talking 95, 96.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, you're going from San Diego to LA.
Yeah.
But you fall asleep and you end up in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like that.
But in Japan.
But in Japan.
Where they're speaking Japanese everywhere.
Well, actually, I would say 80% of Japanese speak English.
They speak English, right?
And when they look at you, they know you're military, so
they
they speak English to you.
So what countries were you in during your military time?
Japan.
Japan.
I went to Japan twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
That just Japan?
Yeah, just Japan.
Okay. How long were you in the military for?
I was in for a total of 6 years.
6 years.
6 years.
Wow. And dang, it's crazy how 6 years shapes up like your whole life. Like from you were there 6 years, but you still remember everything. You still live the way like with the discipline and everything?
I think
You
so.
think-
I think so.
Yeah, you think they disciplined you, like, because you were out like partying and not doing good in school and all that? So,
But see, that's the funny thing about being in the military. You are disciplined. You know, they discipline you, and you are also disciplined. But we have this uncanny ability to take off the uniform
mhm.
and put on regular clothes
Yeah.
and go have fun.
Yeah, okay, I guess. Yeah, because you still are who you are. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you come back in, you throw on the uniform, and now you are, straight arrow again.
Yeah.
So that's this weird thing that military people can do.
And then when did you decide you wanted to become an English teacher? Was it during your time at the military?
No,
Or-
no.
No?
I see, and the impulsive thing again. See,
Again.
I never thought I was going to be a teacher. Never in my life did I think, oh, I'm going to be a teacher. Never thought about it. So I was married at the time.
Uh-huh. Were you married during the military time?
Yeah,
Okay.
during military. I was married at the time. I get out of the military in 96, 95, 96.
Uh-huh.
We ended up, this is how I ended up in Calexico, kind of the same story. So my ex-wife and I and their kids moved to Calexico because her family's from Calexico.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we moved here to Calexico, and I said, oh, I'm going to get a job, thinking that Calexico and Imperial Valley was like a big city where I can get a job tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And it's not.
So it's
right?
always been that way?
It's always been that way.
Mm.
So a week, 2, 3 weeks, I don't know, a month later, I thought, okay, I got to do something because I
Yeah.
am the provider.
Provider, yeah. That.
So I said, hey, why don't I start going to school? There's this school called IVC.
Okay.
So I enrolled in IVC. I had the GI Bill where the military pays you
Yeah.
because you're going to school. And that's how I ended up.
So you went to IVC for 2 years?
Went
Did
to
you
IVC
transfer
for 2
somewhere else?
San Diego State.
San Diego State?
San Diego State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And you got your teaching credentials and everything?
Graduated
But
with the
why-
bachelor's.
Why'd you decide education, though?
That's an impulsive thing again.
Yeah. It's just,
I didn't decide education. It kind of the same thing. I graduated. I was working in una fábrica de mochilas right here in
Okay.
Calexico
uh-huh.
for like 2 years while going to school.
Yeah.
When I graduated San Diego State, I thought, okay, what am I going to do now? I need a job.
Hmm.
So
What was your major? What was your degree on?
you'll never guess. Maybe I've told you in the past as a joke.
Psychology?
Spanish.
Oh, Spanish.
Isn't
Oh,
that
that's true,
ironic?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. You're an English teacher. But
Yeah, and
you
I'm
said
an
you
English
also have a Spanish
Yeah, I can
credential,
also
right?
teach Spanish, yeah, but I've never
you-
taught Spanish.
You decide not to?
Yeah, English is, to me, it's a little easier.
Okay, so but how did you always speak English with your parents, or why do you prefer speaking English? That's something that I always
That
have
all you
questioned.
guys want to
Yeah, because I know you also speak perfect Spanish, like fluent Spanish. But why do you prefer speaking English?
because I think in English.
Oh, okay.
Because I think in English.
When did you start thinking in English? When was it? When you
Probably
like, high school or
probably high school.
high school? Because
Probably high
everyone spoke English there.
Yes, because
there.
in my high school, me and a couple other people were the only Latinos there. And if you spoke Spanish, you were not a cool kid.
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, so it was something more like that you were forced to do.
Yeah,
right?
so you had to speak English. And
Yeah.
if you wanted to talk to anybody, the teachers,
Yeah.
girls, friends, anybody, you had to speak English. Yeah.
Mm,
There was no way around it.
okay.
So, but it's a good thing because I think I like to think that I speak English well, right?
Yeah.
So I learned. I know sometimes I overlearned it because I became an English teacher,
Yeah.
and because now I prefer to speak English and
Yeah.
I think in English.
How have you been able to keep that same thought though of speaking English in Calexico, where everyone speaks Spanish?
I had a hard time when I moved here in '96. I had a culture shock
Yeah. Uh-huh.
because I was going to IBC. I was fresh out of the military, where everybody speaks English,
Uh-huh.
and I went to IBC and everybody was speaking Spanish, and I thought, why aren't you guys speaking English?
Yeah.
We're in college.
Yeah.
But everybody spoke Spanish.
Uh-huh.
So I had to adjust little by little.
Okay.
And I wrote this essay many years ago in a class about how I had to relearn Spanish. So, that happened to me. Plus,
So it
my
was-
Spanish is different because I'm
Yeah.
from Bolivia.
Yeah.
So I have a slightly different accent. Although, now living here in Calexico 30-something years, people think I'm Mexican and I have the Mexican
Yeah.
accent, so
Have you been confused by being Mexican?
yes, all the time.
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
all
Does it
the
bother you or not?
No, it
anymore?
doesn't bother
Did
me.
it ever bother you?
No, never bothered
never.
me. I use it to my advantage when I can use it to my advantage.
That's true.
Yeah. So I can do the Bolivian accent. I can do the Mexican accent. If I need to, I can do
There's a
a
Bolivian
Cuban
accent?
Yeah, there's a Bolivian accent.
Also, you
So-
learned accents.
So I can do. I got to think about it. It's not just automatic.
Yeah.
But I can do different accents.
Yeah. So you moved to Calexico in '96. You said
96.
'96. How old were you when you moved to Calexico?
I was 24.
24.
24.
Oh, okay. So you started military at 18
19.
when you were 19.
19.
Okay. So, but you lasted there 6 years.
6 years.
Okay. So you moved here with your wife, and you already had your 3 daughters.
2 daughters.
You had 2.
2 daughters.
You have 3 in total, right?
I have 3 total.
Okay. So the third one was born here
Yes.
when you were living here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started teaching in Calexico High School, or where did you start teaching?
My first job teaching was at ICOE, the juvenile hall.
Yeah, yeah.
So
How was that?
It was a good experience.
Uh-huh.
And again, see, as soon as they saw,
Military.
as soon as they saw military, they thought, oh, we're gonna hire this
Yeah,
guy
of course.
because he's gonna be in a class full of
Yeah,
troublemakers.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that's why they hired me.
But
Good experiences my first year, not knowing anything about teaching.
well, but you lasted 1 year there?
1 year.
Yeah.
Because then I got a job here at Willie Moreno.
Okay.
And I
How
was
long did you
there
last there?
for 6 years.
6 years.
And then in 2006, so it's been 20 years now, when I transferred to the high school.
Well, did you ever? I know you coached at Willie Moreno, right? Was that your first coaching job ever?
No, my first coaching job was at Southwest High School.
Oh wow! Tell me about that.
I was the JV coach there in 99, 2000.
Wow, how'd you get that job?
I saw an ad somewhere. I applied. I got the job as a JV coach. I was told by administrators that I was going to be the varsity coach at Southwest the next year.
Oh, okay. So it was going to be, your plan was JV 1 year, varsity the next year?
Next year. And I was told, next year you got it, because the varsity coach, that was his last year.
Okay.
So I was told, you're going to be the varsity next year. I said, okay, we're good.
Very excited.
My plan was Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine me, Southwest, right?
Yeah.
And I go back the next year around September, October when school starts.
Yeah.
And I go back to Southwest and I ask for the principal, and the principal is no longer there.
Oh.
So I asked for the athletic director, and the athletic director is no longer there. So
All the staff change?
I guess, but when you're young and, you don't know anything, you just accept whatever answer they give you, right?
So you coach a second year at Southwest? No?
That's when I got the job at Willie Moreno.
Oh, okay.
And when I got to Willie Moreno, the principal and the athletic director, Miss Acosta was her name.
Uh-huh.
She told me, she's like, Mr. Bernal, we hear you like soccer.
Yeah.
I was a first year teacher there.
Okay.
We hear you like soccer, and we have a new program. It's the freshman team. Back then, freshmen were at Willie.
The freshmen
The
from
freshmen
Calexico
were
High
at
School
Willie.
were at Willie?
Yeah, and the Anza, there was two freshmen.
Two freshman
classes.
campus?
Yeah.
What?
So I said, sure, I'll do it. When you're young and you're starting out, you
of
say
course.
yes to everything.
Like me right now.
yes to everything.
Yeah.
So that's how I did those two teams at Willie Moreno.
So it was JV and then Willie
When
freshman
Willie,
team, but it was the Calexico team.
the Calexico team.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how long did you coach the freshman team for?
2 years.
2 years.
And again, not knowing what's going to happen in the future, those 2 freshman years eventually ended up being my first varsity year 3 years later.
Oh, wow.
Because those
So it was
2 kids, those 2 generations combined, plus a few Dianza kids that I didn't know, they formed the team, and that's how we ended up here.
So how did you start coaching the varsity at Calexico High School?
My daughter, my third daughter was about to. No, my ex-wife was in the hospital. My daughter was going to be born like within days.
Yeah.
And I had applied for the job, and I didn't get called for the whole summer.
Okay.
So I thought they're not going to give it to me.
For the varsity job?
Yeah, for the varsity job.
Was anyone leaving? Was the varsity coach
The
leaving?
coach that was there had already left.
Okay.
And I mean, to me, I don't know why, and
You don't know?
it doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
So I had applied. I didn't get called. And it was already August. It was late August.
Mhm.
School had started, and I get a phone call. It was Mr. Alvarado. He was the athletic director back then.
Okay.
He was here for probably 30 years.
I think I know who he is. Yeah.
Okay. He called me and he's like, Coach Bernal, come to my office if you can. We're gonna have an interview. I think it was that same day. I came here to the high school and he said something like, "We're not gonna interview you. We're just kidding. If you want the job, you got it."
Okay.
How did that feel? Yeah, it kind of threw me off for a little bit. And
You were 25 at the time? 26?
I was already
27, no?
This was 2002 already. So
2002.
we're 28.
28? Okay.
So I said, of course, I accepted it.
Yeah.
It's mine. And ever since.
Like, ever since you started coaching the Southwest JV, the freshman from Willie, from Calexico High School, did you have the same coaching style, the same playing style as for your team?
I knew you were going to go there.
I have to.
Yeah, I know. No.
Okay.
Because
so how was your first playing style when you started coaching the Willie team?
when I was younger, I was a lot more patient.
Okay.
And I think that's the biggest flaw that I have. Coaching and non-coaching. I'm very impatient.
Okay.
And I think that's the reason why we coach the way we do it now.
Okay.
You know? Back then, I was a lot more patient. I was a little slower in that sense of coaching, and a little more, okay, let's not do it this way, let's do it this way. And repetitive. So when kids did something that they weren't supposed to do, I was, peaceful to some extent.
Yeah.
You know, I was still Bernal, but I was. So we played touch.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why it's changed.
Okay.
There's other reasons why it's changed, but that's the main one. I think just being so impatient.
You tried, but you just never got there. And the thing is, I mean, what I've said with high school is different. Like playing at the high school level with little kids, you can try, but then because they have a development. But high school, you want results. If you want to try something out and it's not working, if you stick to it, you're just not gonna win games. So was that like the main reason why you shifted to a different style of play?
That's probably a second reason or a third reason. I think one of the other major reasons was because I saw the difference my first 3-4 years traveling back and forth to San Diego.
Yeah.
I saw the difference. I saw that huge difference.
Technical difference between.
And when I was coaching JV and I was coaching the two freshmen, I didn't see the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got to the varsity, my first year we didn't go to San Diego a lot. Second year.
Mm-hmm.
But once we started, traveling back and forth and started playing the bigger teams.
Yeah.
And back then I didn't know they were the bigger team. I just played them because I played them. I saw the difference.
Because when you started, you were already a D1 team school, right? Because of the way it was over here. Like CIF was different, right? The divisions.
Actually, my first year, the school was labeled D2 in all sports. I mean, all sports in Calexico was D2.
Because that's how it was in CIF, right?
Right.
Like it had to do with number of students,
enrollment,
something like that.
Yeah. So the more students you had, you were going to be D1, D2.
Yeah.
The smaller schools, less students, then you were going to be D4.
Yeah.
And that changed in 2013 because of then they did the divisions by merit.
Yeah, which makes a little more sense, no? Do you prefer that?
Yeah, because now you're it's on your own that you're going to make D1, D2 or go down.
Yeah. So when you started coaching the varsity team, did you also try touch? Like try and touch the ball?
Yeah, the first couple of years, maybe 3, 4, 5 years.
Did it work out? Or how well did it work out?
We were very successful.
Okay.
We were very successful. Now that I think about it, we were very successful because we were playing top teams. And back then we didn't know they were top teams. There was no max preps to go and look and see where they are or how they've been doing.
The records and everything.
Yeah, all we had was, hey, coach, how are you doing this year? I won 3 and lost 5.
Okay.
That's all we had.
Okay.
And just the record of the champions from the previous years.
And you said I've heard you say in that time you used to do different formations too, right? Like you said sometimes you play with 3 defenders.
Yeah, back then I guess a little more creative. We ended up playing with 3 defenders, sometimes 3 forwards.
Yeah.
And we compare it now. It would be something like if we're playing with 3 forwards and we're playing Del Norte. Now I would never do that now.
Yeah.
But back then I would say, hey, we're playing Granite Hills, Poway, which were 1 and 2. Let's keep playing the way we're playing.
Did you experiment more during
I
those
did.
times
A lot
at the beginning?
More. A lot more.
Okay.
A lot more.
Who are some players that you remember from those first years that were really the players that won you games?
Those 2 years from the freshman team, they became my varsity team.
Okay.
In 2004, we had an awesome team with Banda. I mean, Juan Banda, everybody knows.
How good was Banda? Because I've heard a lot, but like, how good was he?
I've told him this. I said, Banda, you're a horrible soccer player. I've told him this many times. But anything in the air, it was Banda's.
Okay.
It was Banda's. And, just strength.
Yeah.
No defender could knock him off the ball.
Okay.
But dribbling, okay, that's not Banda's.
Not the best?
Not the best.
So you think he's like one of the, or if the pioneer of players of like that Calexico wants or that you look for? Like you think because of him, you started looking more into that style of players or at least forwards?
No, I don't think so because that year we had maybe 3 Bandas.
Oh, okay.
So, maybe I saw, hey, this year we have 3 Bandas.
Mm-hmm.
Next year we had maybe another 3 Bandas. So, this could work, But every year it changed. Every couple of years it changed. So the players, I would look for that style of player. And again, it has to go back to we're playing excellent teams in San Diego. So how do you counter that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you've played against these teams.
Yeah.
Those kids have the fundamentals and the
Yeah.
foundation as an 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds that Calexico doesn't have, unfortunately.
Yeah. I know we talked about it,
Yeah.
but why do you think we don't have that and they do? I have my answers. You have yours.
Well, we just don't have it here in Calexico or Imperial Valley. We don't.
Why aren't we able to develop it though?
Maybe we don't have. Well, a couple of reasons. Maybe we don't have the right coaches for that age.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it again for the patience thing.
Mm-hmm.
Time, I don't have the time. And maybe just coaches not knowing how to coach an 8, a 9, a 10, and 11-year-old.
Yeah.
And there's another reason why I think different teams in San Diego, coaches and teams, they go and they are there to learn, to teach. The coach to teach, the kids to learn. Not necessarily to go win trophies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every weekend, let's win a trophy, let's win a trophy, let's win a trophy. And I think sometimes the mentality here in Imperial Valley, I think that stops us because the mentality may be, hey, this weekend we're going to go win a trophy.
Yeah.
We're not going to learn anything.
But
we're just going to win a trophy, and it's going to look nice.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a picture and it's going to look awesome and we're the best.
Yeah.
When in reality,
in the long run, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to be effective. Yeah. But I also think like people don't dimension the huge difference there is between just our small town of Calexico and San Diego, because I know it's only 2 hours away, but like the huge difference that it is, which is of course a lot of it's how you said, coaches don't really know how to, but I also think it's not on them because most of them are volunteer coaches, like they're just parents trying to help out, like because they want their kids to play.
Yeah. And
like when you have coaches like that, well, what can you really expect from them? They're just there to help out. So that's the thing. Like we don't have, first of all, the coaches. We don't have the money, which a lot of it has to do with money, honestly, because if you want a well-experienced or trained or certified coach, of course, you're going to have to pay him or her, right? And things like that. But also the thing is, like, we don't have a soccer field here. Like the only soccer field we have, I guess, is the high school, which no one can use unless only the team. Like the fields we have aren't really fields, and like if you make a ratio of fields and space we have to train, and all the teams that all the categories, all the teams that play, like I don't know if you've driven around like the parks on a Wednesday at 7 p.m., 6:30 p.m. it's like so many different teams on the field. Like how much can you teach in that small space, you know?
Yeah,
So
I really haven't driven around. I've seen this one back here,
Yeah,
and,
the one
and, and, I,
here.
and, I've, and I've seen it. You know,
Yeah,
there's
this one, like there's so many
I
teams
can't
on
tell
it.
how many teams
Yeah, like,
are in there.
how much would you be able to teach
Right.
or coach in
Right.
that small space that you have
Right.
provided for you? It's just so hard, and I don't know, like I don't know how much it'll be, like how much it'll take for us to really make a change in our soccer community here with the development of our players, and that's why I think a lot of our players go up to San Diego, Yuma, or Coachella to play and to develop, because that's what we have to do. And when you have a player that doesn't really have the resources or the money to be able to do that,
Yeah.
then that player, like all the talent that they had, kind of just stays here in Calexico or in Mexicali or in the high school. So I don't know if we'll be, I know it's possible, but I don't know how long it'll take for us to be able to change that.
Yeah, I mean, you're being very optimistic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible. Like you said, you know, field equipment, money, traveling, you know, kids playing in the right club, coaches knowing how to, the timing of the coaches. Are they volunteers? Do they get paid? Do they get something because they're giving up time?
Yeah.
All that, and in the spirit of competition, it also has to do with at what age do kids actually compete, or at what age are they still learning in the learning process of how to play soccer?
Yeah.
You know?
And the difference of over there in San Diego, they can how do I say, like notice that and be able to differentiate the players that are still in their development time, even though they're still 9 years old, and the players that are more competitive, even though they're still 9 years old, because there's so many kids that can form a team, two different teams, 3 or 4 different teams. And here, well, if you're forming a team of 10-year-olds, you probably only have 2 or 3 teams that you could use. So they all have to play in the same team. So they all have to go to the same tournaments. So I am being really optimistic about it, because it's something like nearly to impossible, just because of everything.
And see, what you said right now is, okay, here in Calexico, you have a team of really good 10-year-olds. Do they compete against other decent 10-year-old teams? They don't. They probably compete against, not here.
Yeah.
So what are they really learning? You know, it's
if you're
if the score is 10-0 every weekend and you're winning the trophies, what are you really learning?
And then if you're a coach that you see those 11 players that are so good, you're gonna, which is what happens here. You want those players to be in the same team, and then the kids that are left over, well, they're no good, so you're gonna beat them every time.
I mean, I didn't see it because I didn't grow up here in Calexico. I came here as an adult just to coach. But you are seeing both sides. You saw it as a kid.
Yeah.
You played as a kid, and then you played high school, and then you coached high school, and now you're in San Diego. So you see the difference.
Yeah.
You know, you see these kids who may not be Latino in San Diego, and they're really good. But how did they become that? You know, how did they become that good at the high school age?
Yeah.
You know, they did something right, 3, 4, 5 years before they got there.
Yeah.
And that's who we compete against every year.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the big teams in San Diego.
No, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of how you said earlier, like what we have here is talent, like just natural talent.
It's raw talent.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the main reasons we're able to compete over there in San Diego against players that have been developing their whole lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a reason why they get so frustrated when we beat them, because it's like, I train every day, I pay a personal trainer, I play in the best clubs in San Diego and the best clubs in the US, and Calexico comes and they still beat us. Like, what can I do?
I know, it's something that we do, something that, of course, you guys look forward to. But it must be frustrating, but we're there. We're competing. We're not, by any means, we're not the best. We've never been the best, but we compete.
Yeah, of course.
That's at the high school age. I've never coached below high school or years, not younger kids. So I don't know what the competition is like. It's probably the same. But I don't know.
You know what? When I was a player here, I always thought to myself, why didn't you coach like any other youth teams or any other clubs? But now that I coached my first varsity year, I don't want to coach club anymore. It's just like the difference of coaching high school and clubs. First, the adrenaline is different, and then the simplicity of you have an AD, he's the one that, or he or she is the one that organizes everything, all that. Like, what's one of the reasons that you haven't coached club? Because I'm sure they've offered you or something.
What's one of the reasons why I haven't coached club?
Yeah, any clubs?
I stopped thinking about it about 15 years ago. But in my first few years here at the high school, I did consider it, to start or to join.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, it's time.
Time.
I work from 8 to 4.
Yeah.
I used to teach at IVC, so that was also very hard. What time would I have to coach?
Yeah, sure. It's
so
time
it's
consuming.
it's very time consuming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you.
Plus, it's volunteer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you don't get paid.
That's another reason.
Yeah.
Where would I get equipment? How would I travel? Who would pay for the transportation? There's a lot of things to consider. Yeah. I'm not being selfish. I just don't have the time. I don't have the resources to start that club.
Yeah,
and again, it goes back to my being impatient.
That's true. Yeah. So what's a game that a game that you remember most about your coaching career here in Calexico?
Oh, there's a few.
If you had to choose, no chronological, no order, but top 3.
Ooh, there's a few.
One that comes up to your mind.
One of my favorite games was February of 2012 against our fierce rivals here in Calexico. There's a video about it somewhere on YouTube.
I think I've seen it.
2009 and 10, we didn't beat them. They beat us, I think, 3 of the 4 games. 2011, I think we tied both games. We lost in penalties for the old Copa. 2012, the first game, I think we tied, and the second game was here in Calexico. And we just dominated them. The score was 3-0.
3-0.
But it should have been, 8-0 if we really wanted to.
Why do you think specifically to that game? Like, what was so special about? Because we dominated that team for many games. So why that one?
Why that one? I think because there was, 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It became like, it's just another game for us. We're gonna win.
Okay.
No matter what happens. And then something happened in 2009. We didn't win. 2010. So it was a few years of frustration there. And in 2012, there's a few kids 2011, there's a few kids in there who graduated in 11 that didn't get to beat Central at all in those 3 years. And there's one kid who told me a few years back, he said, "Hey, Bernal, did you know that I never got to beat Central?" And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So in 2012, when we played him here in Calexico, we beat him. And it was really, really just the memories that I have of that game.
Yeah.
Another game that comes to mind is the one you were in against Eastlake.
Yeah.
I mean,
if
you ask me, that's a movie.
One. Yeah,
I think
that is a movie.
Yeah, if anybody were to, do a Netflix show about Calexico for that COVID year, right?
Yeah, COVID.
I mean, that was a movie with what Dieter did that game, and I forget his name. Bill, the way we played.
Yeah, and it was also that they beat us the first game of the season, right? 4-0.
4-0, was it, or 5-0?
It was 4-0 or 5-0, but...
And they dominated us. That game, they could have beat us 10-0 if they wanted to.
I know. I mean, also because we didn't have our whole team, but full team, but also, And they were undefeated for, 17 games, I think?
We were the only loss they had.
No. So before they played us.
Oh, yeah. I think it was 17, 18 games.
Yeah, they were 17.
They were ranked number 1, and I think they finished number 1.
In San Diego?
If I'm not mistaken,
Or D2?
In all of San Diego.
In all of San Diego, right?
San Diego, So that game was just a movie. To me, it's just a movie. I have the video where Dieter blocks it and the game is over. I just, that's a movie. To me, that's something that is always going to be in here for 2021.
What did you think when they called the penalty? Last play of the game.
Yeah, to me, you did the penalty, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't a foul. It wasn't a foul, but it was me.
But in my mind, it was like, okay, I've seen this again, because it's happened before.
Yeah, because
in other games, I've seen this movie. I think that was my first thought. Oh, I've seen this movie before. Penalty for the other team. Yeah. They're gonna tie us, and we're gonna lose eventually.
Yeah.
But when he blocked it,
how'd you feel when we didn't lose? When we didn't lose?
I mean, that was it. That's when we proved that.
So he
Like,
actually thought that he was going to score?
no, I mean, Dieter was a very good. He's a smart keeper, probably the smartest keeper I had. I've had great keepers,
Yeah.
but I think he was the smartest one.
Okay.
And I don't know what psychological thing he used, but it worked.
I think he just went up to him and said, "Good luck, bro." And I think the guy, he was like, "Le hizo así."
And see somebody else, a different keeper would probably not say that and like be angry or be
Yeah.
mad and just use different things on it.
Yeah.
But it worked.
He kept
and,
his demeanor when the
yeah,
penalty.
it worked, and he even blocked the rebound, right?
Yeah, he blocked, I think,
He
2
blocked
rebounds.
the rebound. So
Yeah, and we didn't even have to go to overtime. So yeah.
And I think the other memory that I have which was still in here is that first time we beat Poway. I call it the perfect game.
That was the first time you beat Power? Or was it the first time you beat them like that?
Second time I beat Poway, but I mean, it was 3-0.
Yeah.
But it could have been, I don't know, 6-0, I think.
Yeah. And they had a good team.
And they had an awesome team.
Like, I think that year they also went to the final, D1 final.
I think so.
They did. I think they did. So,
but I mean, we won that game and we dominated that game. I don't know, something happened that game, and
the soccer gods were with
I
Calexico.
think that's what I
you
said.
I think. I remember.
And the frame, the picture that I have, and it's here. It's what an awesome feeling to beat somebody like that. You know? And in Poway, all my respect to the coach and to the program, that it's who they are.
Yeah.
After
coaching for 23, 24 years.
24.
Right? Why have you been coming back to coach Calexico every year?
Why? Because I shouldn't come back?
No, I mean, because like, what makes you want to come back despite, like, I know a lot of people don't know, but a lot of difficulties that have gone through behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think it's easy, right? They think it's so easy, and it's not. There's a lot of things that go on that I don't wish on anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't coach somewhere else, because the 4 months that I'm here at the high school, it's
so much.
300%. It's I die there every season. Every game, win or lose or tie. That's just me right there. And after the season, no matter how we do, I completely separate myself from soccer altogether. I don't want to have to do anything with it. I take down my wall. I put away trophies or pictures. I put everything away. It's too much. Yeah. It's a lot. And it takes, 3, 4, 5 months to recharge.
Yeah.
And next year, one of the things I look forward to when school starts is
the season.
Okay, I got 2 months to start the planning, the scheduling.
Yeah.
I got to do equipment. I got to do uniforms. I got to do this. I got to do that. So I think that's why I come back.
What's something that people don't see of how hard it is to coach?
I think people in general just see games. They just see
results.
80 minutes. Yeah. Win or lose, they see. That's all they see. Oh, luckily for us, for me, it's been a lot more wins and a lot more losses. So anybody has an opinion is fine. I respect opinions, but I don't want to pull out numbers because I can. But I don't want to. I'm not going to go there. But I think sometimes people overlook the fact that because I've been taking care of this for so long that it's almost second nature, automatic.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it look easy.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody new comes in, like when you came in, or another coach came in, and oh my God, we're gonna be here till 6:30, and it's like, yeah, that's what it takes. That's what it brings us to be a competitive team. Practice from 3:30 to 6:30, and we're gonna run as much as we can.
Yeah.
That's what it takes, because general public only sees 80 minutes results. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah. And what makes all that worthwhile? What makes it worth your time, your effort, your money, everything?
It's not about the money.
No, what makes it worth? Because, anyways, what makes it worthwhile, though?
It goes back to passion of the sport. My dad, when I was a kid, now that I'm an adult and I can watch, 20 games per week, professional games on TV, just studying. and it's funny how I don't look at the players. I just look at how they are
Moving.
playing, how they are moving, and what they can do with the left, with the right, and all these different things. Professionals.
Yeah.
I think just the passion's still there, and I've always said, once it's gone, I think that's going to be my last season. And I've had a few last seasons already. I've had a few that I've said, thank you so much. I've shaken hands with different coaches and school administrators and in my resignation letters and this and that or the other, my Facebook posts, and
why have you come back after those seasons?
Passion. It's just.
Is it hard to leave it?
Yes. And now I understand why, professional coaches from football or basketball, they last till they're 80 years old. Now I understand. Or college coaches, college coaches that, are with UCLA basketball for 40 years, or one of those other schools, and it's like, oh, that's why. Now I understand. But I've always said it. I'm gonna retire as a teacher in about 6 years. At the most. And I think that's also going to be for soccer. I don't see myself as not teaching and coaching. I don't see that. I think it goes together.
Yeah. Hopefully we have you for the
at least 6 years. At least 6 years.
6 more years.
Yeah.
So that you want to be here until you retire, then?
Yeah, unless something happens that makes me not want to be here.
Yeah.
I throw my little tantrums, but here I come back. Here I am again, and so on. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we have you. I think you've taught us a lot of lessons, not just me, but all the players that you've had, and we thank you for it. I mean, this is a space for you. It's me, and not just me getting to know you, but everyone else that can watch this getting to know you, who you are, and hopefully this isn't the last episode. So, because we really think a lot of us really want to know your opinions on a lot of things. I think a lot of us, we see you. I saw you as one of my father figures for soccer, right? If they asked me for one, I would say it's you, and then maybe your buddy Jorge. But you've shaped us a lot, and what we think, how we think, the discipline that you gave us, everything you gave us is the players that know how to take the best away from what we learned from you. Then it's really worth it. All the runs, all the miles, all the burpees, everything was worth it. So we thank you for that, and I hope we can keep getting to know more of you and know what you think about soccer, and not just about soccer, but about life in general. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I haven't won a CIF yet, but I think, like I've said in a few banquets, I've said I win a CIF every year with kids graduating and moving on to do big things as adults. I've seen a lot of you guys be a Border Patrol, Customs, COs, teachers, police, just military.
Yeah.
2 kids who are about to, well, they're not kids anymore. They're about to retire from the military. So they were my students.
Yeah.
They were my soccer players. They joined the military, and now they're about to retire in a few years, even before I retired.
Yeah.
So, they passed me.
Yeah.
So I see those, and I also see, I've met a lot of kids, a lot of children that my soccer players have had.
Yeah.
Been invited to a lot of weddings, quinceañeras, a couple of them now, different things like that. And I think, okay, I didn't win CIF.
Yeah.
But I have that, and I see the growth in, obviously not everyone, like you said, it's.
Yeah.
Some students, players, they go the other way, and that's fine. I respect that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, or I accept that they don't include me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. We don't all have to get along.
Yeah.
But the ones that do, I always tell you guys as jokes, if you're 21, invite me to a meeting, and and it happens, and that's where we are now. It's a lot of work. A lot of work behind the scenes. And once we do that, I think it makes a big difference for what happens on the field. We have our wins and losses. We have our trophies or not trophies, and we have our triumphs and our disasters. But we're still here, you know. I'm not from Calexico, but I like to think that
We're adopted.
I'm a little adopted. Yeah. That I like to think that I've represented Calexico well.
You did.
And I've talked to a few principals over the years and a few others from the district, and that's my number one thing to them is I hope I represented, and sometimes I say your city because I'm not from Calexico and I know it's theirs. Sometimes I say I hope I represented your city and your school well, because Calexico is to be respected. You know, yes, we're a small town, we're 2 hours away from the big city, but Calexico has a very rich history, a lot of good stuff over here, and I like to keep it within, you know, soccer, within Calexico, and represent, and everything that goes along with our program or my program.
Yeah.
So
I think we can't thank you enough for everything you've done for our city, for your city as well, because you've been here longer than a lot of people. So we can't thank you enough for everything you've done for us, for all your soccer players, all your students. So hopefully, well, it won't be the last time that we talk, because there's a lot more to know about you and your history and everything. So thank you, Mr. Bernal.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.